Hello. We are continuing our master grade. This is the third part of going through it, master grade unicorn. And I'll tell you what, I'm having a lot of fun with this one. This is really fun. I think I'm having more fun with this one than the real grade, which is kind of surprising because I heard the real grade was a lot better than this one. But especially for this not being the Verka version. I'm gonna stop the music talking over it. There we go. Back to some background music. But yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it. I don't know if it'll be as easy to transform as the real grade, which by the way was not easy to transform. So maybe this one will be better. Who knows? I usually like to keep them in their transformed state. Also, I got some new tools because I'm kind of a tool junkie when it comes to this stuff. I really, really love, in a weird way, to collect tools to help with this stuff. I got some glass files. You can see here. I got medium fine, super fine. See, I usually use these Infinisticks here, which are by far the best sanding sticks I have ever had. I've used 2 or 3 brands at this point, and in what is it, Infinimodel. I think it's a Korean brand. They're fantastic. They're the best. I use a mix of these sticks, kind of not exactly in this order, but I'll use like 3 or 4 of them out of here, and then I'll finish it with this one here. This is a 4000 grit buffer. Basically, it's just there to make things shiny. In fact, this thing works so good that I believe I ended up buying extras just in case here. Anything goes wrong with this one, but so far so good. I haven't really scratched it up too bad. You got to be kind of careful with it because it's really soft and it looks like it could rip really easily. So I should actually probably get more than just the 2 extra. I probably need more than that. But otherwise, when I looked these up, there's a medium, fine, super fine, and from what I understand, what you're supposed to do is when you're sanding down the nubs, you use a medium, then you move on to the fine, then you move on to the super fine, and then they actually suggest that you have these buffer sticks to polish the nub after you're done with the first 3. So I'm kind of excited to see how well these work, if they work better than the normal ones. Because if they do, they're supposed to be longer lasting. In fact, I've read that basically you don't really ever have to do anything to them other than clean them every so often, and they'll just stay this grit for the time being. So we'll see. We'll find out fast. So all right, so we're this far. I got legs and weapons, and I think now that I've done like 5 of these models of the unicorn, I know there's a backpack to be done, so there's that. Alright, so let's get started here on the legs. Okay. I wish I would have organized these runners before I started because they are all over the place. It's a foot, so it's got to be like a dark blue color. I'm looking for P. I'm looking for P. That's someone's fetish, I'm sure. Let's see. Hey, I never said anything. That's your assumption, not mine. Huh? I'm talking about the Infinisticks, the regular Infin. I mean, definitely. Yeah, it definitely does its job. Let's see. I mean, normally I would just try to sand as, or try to cut as close as I can. But I'm interested in seeing all these work, and so far, I mean, like, it's very smooth, but it doesn't really get rid of the imperfections, which is what I was kind of hoping for. But holy cow, is that? Wow, that is, it's incredibly smooth. Wow. I mean, you can see, kind of see the little, you can still see the nub mark at the end there, right here, where it was, but it's I mean, I wish I could show you the profile better, but it's just not there anymore. That's crazy. So far, I mean, I'm not sure how to feel about it yet, because I think maybe once I get into like some light plastic and see how it kind of does there, maybe I'll have a better idea of how I feel about it. But this stuff, it's like I said, it's I'm shocked at how smooth it comes out. That's really the thing I'm the most surprised about, is just, you know. Wow, that's crazy. Crazy. Okay, well, I'm impressed in some ways, yeah, for sure. I'm not sure if I like doing that better than the old cutting off the nub with the blade, because that's always been my go-to. The blade's a little faster, but no, if I was more worried about painting these things, then I might think of just going completely that way. At a time? Okay, so I'm doing this right then. Let's see how this goes. I'm gonna try it the old-fashioned way. Let's see how. I want to see the difference between the two ways of doing it that I. Is that what that was? That was the cart titan? I thought that that's why I posted the picture of the smiling titan, because it reminded me of the smiling titan. Oh, really? That's funny. Okay, so I used the other sticks, and I'll tell you what, very similar results. But I mean, one thing you could say about that, the fact that you get similar results no matter if you're using the regular sticks, is there's two good things about the glass ones. Then is A, that the glass ones supposedly take much longer to wear out, if they wear out at all. I've never actually heard of anyone wearing out their glass files. The other thing too, it's a shorter process. Instead of using 4 sticks, I guess technically, I mean, or you're using 5 sticks instead of using 4 sticks, but which isn't a big deal, but you're getting the same finish. By the looks of it, you're not quite taking off as much plastic in the process of doing it either. And you get the same results. You can still see the nub, but it's nice and buffered out. So I don't know. So far it seems like these glass files were well worth it. I mean, it's the same manufacturer as the other sticks, so I wasn't exactly expecting it to be like bad, because I'm already well aware of the quality of what these guys do. So, in fact, there's a lot of different manufacturers of these kinds of these glass files. In fact, I mean, you could just go out and buy a set of glass nail files, and you get a similar sort of thing going on. But I have read that these knock up a lot more dust than pretty good. Digging these. Like I said, I don't usually use. I'll be honest with you, I hate filing, so I try to do it as little as I can. But when I mess things up like that, that's what they're there for. So up all the time. Usually it's, oh, you've seen me do it a lot of times. You just don't realize that's what's happening because I don't usually call it out. But just like right now, for example, like I was using my blade to cut off the residue from a nub right here, and I accidentally cut in to the actual part here. And that's what I normally use the files for, is to kind of level the spots where I mess up like that. And yeah, you can still see where I cut into it, but it is smoothed over, so you can't, it's not like it's sticking out or nothing. So very good. I'm very, so far, happy with this purchase. I also got these too. They're just bigger versions of the same thing. I imagine I'll probably end up using something like that for the perfect grade. I'm actually super interested in seeing how the perfect grade goes, because God hands, for example, you're not supposed to cut through like thick plastic with them, which I'm actually pretty bad about. I actually do that a lot, but technically you're supposed to have a pair of nippers like this to cut through kind of like the side parts, and then, funny enough, a bigger pair of nippers like this to cut through the actual spruce. So I mean, if I was doing it the way to be safe, what I would be doing is I would be taking this set here, cutting along here, keeping it kind of far away from the trying to keep it far enough away so that I'm not cutting too close. Oop, and then taking these and then going along and just cleaning off sides. And that's how you keep your god hands from getting too messed up. But not what I'm doing, because dangerous person. Tell you what too, when I'm doing this, and I don't know how other people feel about this or if they do it or not, but like when I have a nub here that's giving me a little bit of an issue, I will just kind of like try to very lightly just shave into the plastic, just the tiniest bit, just to really get in there and remove it and make it smooth. And that's probably a bad thing, because it does technically, I guess, would cause like a groove in the plastic, but most part it never really causes any issues, surprisingly. But that's me. I'm sure some people would hear that and they're like, you're ruining it, but I'm not. Looks just fine once it's displayed. You know, and there are some people, actually a lot of people, who claim that with the god hands you're just supposed to get as close as you can to plastic, just cut. Because it cuts like butter. It does. No denial there. But, and that's the reason why I was thinking about the perfect grade when I get ready to do the perfect grade. Because like, I have to assume, I don't know this for sure, but I have to assume that the nubs on a perfect grade and the sprues on a perfect grade are going to be much bigger than a master grade or a high grade. So I would think that you would almost need to use something bigger than the god hands, or sturdier, I should say, because god hands, like, you drop those on the ground, you're done. You're gonna need a new set. They're basically made of glass. Like, I'm glad I have never dropped my god hands on the ground, because that would make me very sad. Not super sad, because I do have a backup pair. What? What'd you just do? Dad. Super sada. Actually, you know what? This gives me an idea. Give me just a second. Oh no!
iRobot Home app for help.
This thing. I think it's always getting in the way. Let's see. here. Put it back under the table with the dendrobium. Let's keep going. Let's build these feet. I don't wanna. I've been saying that I think that this will probably be about 4 parts. So where are we at? All right, I need L. You missed all the good stuff. You missed all. I pulled out the perfect grade and did a size comparison. I told you that's where I was going. That's okay. You can rewatch it on YouTube. If I can find the L piece here. Alright, hold up. I'm just making a bigger mess over here by doing this. Okay, H. A. N. Where is L? P and E. Oh my gosh. L again? Again? Already? So quickly? No, I haven't. I wish I could help. I wish I could help. But shouldn't be surprised. Keeps on hitting me in the face. I think I'm gonna have to get a desk. I'll always be surprised. That's not no. I'll always be a little surprised, just a little. I know you guys probably can't hear it, or maybe you can, or maybe you can't over the music, but there is a fiesta going on. I think it's well, it's something. There's some kind of celebration, and I have the Mexican neighbors, and they are having a party and kind of jealous. Sounds like they got a live band, like a. I think there's a live band out there, like a live mariachi band out there. No kidding. I wish there was some way I could. I don't know how to dance to boring music, let alone energetic music. Do-si-do? That's a do-si-do. I was gonna say, I don't know if you do-si-do to mariachi bands. It seems like a bad idea. No, do-si-do doesn't. Do-si-do is such a. Don't. Stop it. Stop it. That's not cool. I know, but that's like me being like, oh god, no, I can't do it while I'm on stream. Hold on. Mute my mic for a second. I feel better now. I know it's not what you meant, but that's what it. That's the only correlation I could think of. Oh man. My girlfriend's a good person. Ow. See that? Microphone. Keep on hitting it. Alright. What does that mean? What's that mean? That's what I said. Oh yeah, it totally is. Holy cow, I just noticed. So look at that. You could see right here. This is the microphone. This is the edge of the microphone. It's supposed to be above the camera. And this table is bending so bad that I can't get it to stay that way. Let's see here. If you see it in the if you look in the stream, you'll see what I'm talking about. There we go. Fixed it for now. It'll just fall slowly again, but at least it won't hit me in the head again. Where was I? Okay. Oh. Yeah, well. Sorry that I call you out. I said you're a good person. I'll never stop saying it. R, you're a wonderful person. I know I'm not working on my own. No, I can't be called. It's an Amazon. Yeah. They don't call you in for Amazon. Or at least... Let me put it this way. It's not that they don't call you for Amazon. It's just that I don't feel bad if I don't answer the phone when they call you for Amazon. That's the difference. Right, exactly. No one's... I don't feel like I'm letting anyone down if I don't answer the phone. Whereas like a normal day of work, I usually answer the phone because I'm like, either one of two things would happen here. Either I'm, screwing over people that don't want to screw over, or I'm screwing myself over by accidentally causing myself to have a worse day the next day, if that makes sense. Because the idea in my head, I'm thinking, all right, if I don't go in and do this work, then I'm leaving it for myself tomorrow. Which isn't always true, but could be true. And that's the thing, is you gotta roll the dice. May or may not be true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's more like he wants to be around where he's not allowed. Or not, he's not, it's not that he's not allowed. I shouldn't say that, but where the door is shut. And he's like, this door is shut. But I should be inside there. Why am I not inside the room where the door is shut? That's not fair. I mean, I haven't gone in that room all day, but the door is shut, so that means I should be in there. That's how I assume he feels. So those kind of suck. All right, let's see. B. This is A, and this is B. Yeah. So yeah, you missed me pull out the perfect grade and do a size comparison between certain parts. Holy cow! The perfect grade is so much bigger than the rest. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to fit it into the case. Yeah, no, yeah. That one wasn't even like, that one was just confusing. That's what that was. Because it was like, it sounded more mocking. I know, I understand that. It's kind of like when I do my weird repeating thing where sometimes I'll just repeat what other people say for no real reason. I do that sometimes. I'm sure you've noticed. I'm sure a few of the times where you've said that, you're mocking me. I'm not actually mocking you. Sometimes I just repeat what people say. Yeah, I know. Almost like a tick. Almost kind of like a tick is what it's like. It's like, remember how I was telling you sometimes, like, when I talk to a person for a while, I'll start, like, accidentally copying their accent? Sometimes if I hear someone say something that, like, my brain registers as, like, peculiar, I will automatically try to repeat it in the way that I heard it. So it sounds like I'm mocking, but it's more like my brain going, like, see if you could say that. It's really weird. Oh yeah, I do that too. I do that. And that's, like I said, that's usually when you think I'm... Of all the words to mess up while you're saying... That was really funny. I mean, it was really funny. I say things peculiar. I know. It was just funny because of the moment. That's all. It's a fine grave, though. Wait, is this empty? It's empty. Throw this in the box. Looking at it, I'm trying to see if there's anything on it. Box. Oh, is this the F I've been using? Yes, this is the outfit that I'm using. Okay. Not that it really matters. But. This is, oh no, never mind. I was gonna say this is a little bit different from the rest of them because they usually have these little side things that you point up and down. No, I'm talking about the model. Boop, 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 boop. I was gonna say something about like, I wonder why does all mariachi music sound like the same song? Just like on. But that's the thing. I doubt they do. I'm sure to the person with the experienced ears. You don't think so? Yeah, I just. That's true. It's kind of weird though when you think about it though. Like when you think of like a rock band, for example, right? A rock band. No, they're not. Right. That's what I was saying about rock bands. Is that what you're saying about mariachi bands? Yeah, it's like I'm trying to think like, I wonder if there's like a, if you listen to like a lot of mariachi music, for example, like, do you listen to it and like, you know how it is? It's like a person who listens to a lot of a certain type of rock music, let's say, can tell the difference. Perfect example, like metal, right? Like for me, I listen to a metal band and I just hear the guitar, I hear the screaming, I hear all that stuff. I'm like, oh, that all kind of just sounds the same to me, you know? Like it all just depending, like I'm talking about like heavy metal too, like death metal and stuff like that. I'm not talking about like for example, like I can tell you the difference between a Megadeth and a Metallica song, but I wonder if some people couldn't, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, well, this is just metal. All metal sounds the same. And so I'm wondering if the same thing exists with mariachi, but it's like every time I hear a car drive by. Right, exactly. Like when I hear a car drive by and it's playing that music, like I'm wondering to myself, like, is this like top of the line? Like, is this a good? Right, exactly. Because it all just kind of sounds like, you know what other? It's funny because it all sounds like Mexican polka, right? And polka is another kind of music that just all it is just bum 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 bum. Like that's all polka sounds. Which starts with the trombone, which is also very polka. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you're not wrong. All connected. I think there's a deeper conspiracy. I think we need to look deeper. But again, like you're saying, like a lot of it probably has to do with the instrumentation that's being used. But like there's only so many sounds that you can get out of a trombone that just goes bum bum bum. It's just so funny though, because I hear the music that's playing on the stream right now coming out of my headphones, but then on the other side, I can right outside the window, I can hear bum 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 bum. I really wish I could. I wish I could play it for you guys. I wish. Hey, you guys, as if there's anyone else watching. Wait, these are cool feet. Boom! Look at that. Pretty neat. Getting good. Is that a good call out? Much more enjoyable. Oh wow, I didn't even cut out the extra pieces for the first part. Okay. I thought I did. Need to find the P again. Okay, hold on a second here. P6. Right here. Really? Full of it anyway. That's odd. Oh, I see. Right leg, left leg. Okay. So, I'm looking at it. There's 6. This is 5. Am I crazy? I am. I'm crazy. It's official. All right, cool. I'm glad we discovered that. I'm glad we could all watch me dive into a little bit of insanity for a second there. I was looking for a part that I had already put together, and it was sitting right in front of me. I'm okay now. So, something interesting I learned. So, I've been playing that, the jazz music on a few of these streams. And apparently, so the reason the music I choose to play is based on the fact that, it's royalty free, which means that if I put it up on YouTube, then I won't get in any kind of trouble or anything like that. It's all music that's made by artists who don't mind you using their music. And Twitch has a thing called Twitch Soundtrack, where it's supposed to be royalty-free music and all that stuff. So I started using that for my streams, right? And come to find out, Twitch only cleared the rights to that music for Twitch. So in other words, if you play it and then you take that VOD and you upload it to YouTube on your channel, you get yelled at for copyrights because it's not the jazz, well, I'm not going to use Twitch soundtracks for VODs anymore now. Sucks because I really enjoyed the jazz music. Well, there's another guy that puts out these playlists called Stream Beats, which is what I'm listening to right now. And all the music on Stream Beats, I believe, is made by him and his company, and it's specifically made to be royalty free on everything. So that's why I'm listening to that instead. Last week, I tried to separate the music from the VOD, which worked. Actually, it worked really well. But the problem is that then you just have a VOD that's 2 hours of just me talking every once in a while. And that's not necessarily fun for anyone to listen to. Not that I think that anyone's sitting there listening to music, watching me do Gunpla or anything like that. But I watched the video or the VOD back of the last one with no music, and it's just silence and me, and I felt awkward for myself, so I don't think I'll be doing that again. I was like, wow, that's a lot of just silence, just dead silence the whole time. Sometimes I'll be talking and the mic doesn't even pick up what I'm saying, so sometimes it even looks like I'm just sitting there talking to myself. So well, the thing is I'm sitting here and even I can hear music playing right now. Like, there's music playing in my headphones. I could mute it if I wanted to, but I don't, because I want to listen to. I don't want to sit here in complete silence. Back in the day, what I used to do. Yeah, eventually you'll pass out. What I used to do is either I would, talk to you like I do now, or I would end up watching. Actually, what I used to do when I first started getting back into this is I would watch Gundam. Actually, I would turn on a Gundam show and just watch it in the background while I was doing Gunpla. Yeah, I actually got through a lot of the Universal Century stuff doing that, which I mean, that doesn't mean anything to you, but the Universal Century is the biggest. Like, there's the most shows in the Universal Century. Like, that's the first Gundam show. Like, Mobile Suit Gundam is Universal Century. Unicorn is Universal Century, for example. But there's a lot of shows, a lot of movies. I got to, again, like I said, this isn't going to mean much to you, but it'll mean more, I guess, to the stream. I got to I don't know if you call it V Gundam or Victory Gundam, but that's as far as I got. And actually, the reason I got that far was because I'm not usually, I say this, but there's actually a lot of shows I've realized that I do watch dubbed. I'm not, I'll go ahead and claim that I'm not a big dub watcher. I usually like watching in subs, but when I'm doing it as a background thing, obviously I can't watch something subbed if I'm watching it in the background. I have to listen to the dub, because I'm more or less listening to the show than I am actually watching it. So the problem is that, come to find out, Victory Gundam doesn't have a dub. They've only ever released it subbed. So that's where I had to stop, because I couldn't watch it. Right, exactly. And so, but I killed in the most brutal way I've ever seen, like, anything in the show. Okay. It's a real toss-up between Aaron's mom and the main character's mom in Victory Gundam. Because what happens, okay, I'll tell you what happens in Victory Gundam is, so the main character, he's in the Gundam, and his mom's been kidnapped by the bad guys, and they're holding her hostage. And he finally gets to her, And I'm trying to remember if he's finding another mobile suit or something. He finally gets to her, and I think he actually gets her. Like, he's holding her in his hand. Yes, that is what happened. He's holding her in his hand. And then at the same time, there's another vehicle that's kind of on the battlefield that kind of goes off track. And it's like a giant wheel, right? It's like almost like a big motorcycle, right? And he's holding her out, trying to keep her away from something else, if I remember correctly. And as he's holding her out, the motorcycle comes driving by and like hits his hand. And like, you know, if you're a person-sized person and you have a wheel that's the size of a Gundam, like rolling at fast speed, basically what ends up happening is the wheel catches her and like goes whoom and decapitates her in his hand. Like, and he sees the whole thing happen. Oh, it's so messed up. Yeah, and then there's a scene right after it where he goes down and he finds her head. They don't show her head or anything like that because it's still inside the helmet she's wearing. She's wearing like a pilot suit. And he goes down. So messed up. Goes down, he picks up the helmet. He looks inside and you just see like the look on his face of just like freaking out, right? And he carries it over to the other people that are kind of like in the military that he works with. And like he introduces the head. He's like, "This is my mom." He's completely lost it. Like he's just completely lost it. Gundam's dark. It's dark. I know it's all fun, like, oh, look at these cool models and everything. But then it's like every once in a while something happens in those shows. I don't know, maybe it's the creator of the shows or whatever, because that happened in Victory Gundam. And then in Zeta Gundam, almost the same, not the same exact thing, but there's another scene where it's the main character and someone's kidnapped his mom. And then just as he's about to save her, something happens that gets her killed. And he has to watch it happen. I want to know what happened to in that guy's life where he's just like, nobody's mother survives. But to be fair, Gundam is all about war being bad. That's the whole point of the show. I guess if they made it more appealing, that would be kind of counteract what they're trying to say. Like, wow, of Gundam, like all together, or just in like the main timeline? All together. No, they don't all fit together. So, because you have what's called the Universal Century timeline, and that's where most Gundam shows are, and that's all about the war between the Earth and space, basically people who are born in space versus the people who are born in Earth, and how that war just keeps on going on and on and on and on and on. And who's the good guy and who's the bad guy, it switches constantly. Sometimes Earth is the bad guy, sometimes space is the bad guy. But either way, the point is that this is a never-ending war, and war is bad. But at a certain point, I guess stuff that happens in the Universal Century stopped selling super well. So I guess Bandai, I would assume it's Bandai, came out and was like, hey, how about we just set like how about we make like a new Gundam show that has nothing to do with Universal Century, just completely apart from it. And so they were like, yeah, sure, let's try it. And they came up with this show that called G Gundam. And basically it was set in a, like just completely different world, different kind of Earth and all this stuff. And it was about like in this world, there wasn't any kind of war or anything like that. It was more like people built Gundams to fight each other. And it was more like a fight show where it's all these different Gundams from all over the world fighting each other just for the chance to be the, you know, be the best. And after that, there's been quite a few shows that have been part of these different alternate universes. One thing that's interesting that I've noticed is that they don't really ever go back to most of them, though. Like, you'll get one show, and that's it. Except for movies. Sometimes they'll make a movie that happens in one of those alternate universes, but otherwise, yeah, it's always kind of a one shot and you get the whole story. But like Gundam Wing, for example. Anyway. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Actually, no, it's more like what happens a lot of times. So this is kind of weird. So you have Mobile Suit Gundam, right? Which I'm not sure if the show or the book happened first, but there's a novel of Mobile Suit Gundam. And I'm pretty sure the show came first. That just makes the most sense in my mind, I guess. But a lot of times what happens, Unicorn's a good example. There's a new movie coming out called Hathaway's Flash. A lot of times what happens is people will write comic books and novels. That's the other thing too, is there's a lot of Gundam novels out there. Most of them are untranslated, so it's not like you could read them or anything, but they'll make manga and they'll make novels, and then those get turned into the new TV shows a lot nowadays, or movies and stuff. So it's interesting how it's kind of like fed back into itself. Like, it was original concept that people wrote comic books for, and then now it's stuff where other people are coming up with books and comics about like characters from the shows, and then those are what's being turned into the movies and stuff. Unicorn's an example of that. Unicorn was a novel that got turned into a series of short movies. If I remember correctly, I can't remember. I think it was like oh yeah, the most Sentai of Gundams. Yeah, well, there's literally a Sailor Moon Gundam on G Gundam. Like, you don't get much more Sentai than that, other than like a literal Power Ranger showing up. But yeah, Unicorn was based off the Unicorn novel. It's always interesting too, because sometimes they'll make the models based off of the novel version of the Gundams or mobile suits or whatever it is. And then when the TV show comes out, they'll do some major tweaks on how the mobile suit's designed based from the novel, because the novels get, like, you've seen Penelope. the novel version of Penelope is even crazier looking than than the version that they decided to do for the actual movie that's coming out. So, which is crazy because Penelope is already one of the most ridiculous looking Gundams I've ever seen. Like, it's ridiculous looking. It's just like, okay, like Penelope is already gigantic and it's already got all these points and all this stuff. And everything that it already just it's just ridiculous looking. I don't know how else to put it. And in the novel version of it, it's just more. It's just even pointier. It just looks like if anyone tried to like get into it, they would be cut to death. Like, just, like it's so sharp and pointy looking. Oh yeah, like I don't think that the original version is bad. It's just it looks like an 80s metal version of what a Gundam I guess. I don't know how to put it. It's like the hairband version. Like if Motley Crue made a Gundam, that's what Penelope looks like in the novel. You know, what I would suggest if you're ever trying to get into Gundam is if you actually want to try to do the original show in any way or shape or form, there's actually a trilogy of movies that they made that are a condensed version of the TV show that are actually really good. They cut out all the filler. Well, it's hard to call it filler if it's all original, but basically it's just a condensed down version of the 50 episodes of the original show. And I would say I like the original show after I got through it and everything. I really appreciate it now, but you know, it's an anime that was made in the late 70s. You know, it's a bit of a slog. But the movies, I think, were made in like the 80s, and like anime in the 80s was ridiculous. And they reanimate a little bit of it, and I think for someone who's having a hard time getting into Gundam, that's a much more preferable way to at least get into the original show. And then I love Zeta. I can't say anything bad about Zeta, which is the second show. Yeah, I would say that they're more. Zeta is the sequel to Mobile Suit Gundam, and it's kind of the continuing story of Char and all those people. And I think that show is just better. It's just better. You know, and the thing with Gundam is it's all sorts of varying quality. You know, some people love G Gundam. Some people think it's stupid. You know, some people love Wing. Some people think Wing's too melodramatic. I mean, I'm one of those people. Like, I loved Wing when I was in high school, but I think Wing is really melodramatic now. I think Gundam 00 is basically a better version of what Wing tried to be. And that, I don't know how people feel about that, but that's my personal opinion on it. Like Wing, the idea of Wing being, you know, like this terrorist group from space, like showing up and trying to stop all war and everything like that, but it had so much to do with the relationship between Hiro and Relena instead of the actual conflict, you know? That's why it's so melodramatic, you know? Whereas yeah, right, exactly. Whereas Whereas Double O is the same exact concept. It's space sending down Gundams to attack Earth to basically be like, no more war. But it's about the conflict and not about the love story. So I think, yeah, like I said, I think Double O is a much better thing. The only problem with Double O is that there's 2 seasons of it. Both seasons are pretty good, but it ends with a movie, and the movie is about an alien invasion, which I think that's the first time that Gundam's ever dealt with aliens invading. Yes, no homoerotic classical music duets in Double O. Listen, don't forget, Wing was meant to entice women into watching it, so this is the most difficult part I've ever. Okay, there we go. It scares me ever since I broke the top of the unicorn horn. I'm scared for every piece on this because that broke so easily. Anyway, them feet are starting to look like feet. But yeah, I haven't seen Seed. I heard Seed is another very melodramatic show, and I don't really want to. Iron-Blooded Orphans is pretty dope. That's a good one. Iron-Blooded Orphans. I enjoyed that one quite a bit. I haven't finished it yet. I got pretty far into it and then just got distracted, I guess. But I know. Yeah, I actually am the same way. It took me I think I watched the first episode maybe 3 times before I finally got past that one. You know, I always say it's the same thing like The Matrix. Like, I'm the guy who fell asleep watching The Matrix like 5 times before I ever finished it, and then once I finished it, I was like, hey, that's a pretty good movie. But there's only one of them. There's only one Matrix movie. Shh. We don't talk about this. There's only one Matrix movie. They never made another one. I will say this about just about every Gundam show I've ever watched is there is a significant how do I want to put it? Like, almost every single one that I've watched is always just like, you're sitting there and you're watching it, you're going like, Dream Elements YouTube link doesn't work. Oh, I'll have to fix that. Thank you for letting me know. I will say that hold on, wait a second. I'm gonna end up freezing the whole stream because I'm doing this on a laptop, but 404 not found. How interesting. Oh, I clicked it too many times. Oh Lord. There we go. I broke everything. interesting. All right. Yeah, I'll definitely. But no, what I was saying before, just about every Gundam show I've ever watched, it has been like, and I hate saying this because no show should be this way, but you really gotta get like a few episodes in before it starts to ramp up and get really good. I will say that if there's one good thing about Wing is that Wing, I love the first episode of Gundam Wing. It's pretty him ripping that note apart and then telling her, she's like, why would you do that? And him walking up to her and being like, I'll kill you. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool scene. Or did my stream mess up while I was trying to... What's that? Did my stream mess up while I was trying to load that webpage? I figured it would. Yeah, you know, that's true. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of like animes that have like really fantastic first episodes that... Like, I would... Like, Cowboy Bebop's got a good first episode, but Cowboy Bebop's also episodic. It's not... it's not serialized, so I don't know if I really count that. Attack on Titan, that has a fantastic first episode. But you know, it's a good example of Samurai Champloo. Like Samurai Champloo, I feel like takes a longer time to ramp up than that one. There was one that everyone keeps on talking about, and I've only ever watched the first episode of it. Surprisingly, I haven't watched more of it because it actually seems like it might be pretty good. Promised Neverland? Is that what it's called? Yeah, yeah. I heard the second season's pretty bad. But I heard the first season's fantastic. But I heard the manga ended, so I don't know why. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that Promised Neverland is supposed to be really good. I mean, the first episode I watched it, and I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. So, you know, I'll get back to it eventually for sure. The only reason I was really, at the time when I was watching Gundam, like I said, it was mostly because I was just kind of as background to watch, or to do Gunpla, because I figured why not watch Gundam while I'm building. It made a lot of sense, and it kind of helped me appreciate the shows a little bit more by just kind of having it as background noise in a weird way. Definitely, I'll say this too, it definitely gives a lot more, like, for example, like, I thought Unicorn was really cool. I know some people don't like Unicorn because it's very, like, space magic-y. Yeah, I've heard Demon Slayer is good too. I heard a lot of people say Demon Slayer. And there's supposed to be some new show from Wit Studio that's, which Wit Studio, they're the ones who did the first 3 seasons of Attack on Titan. Something Jujitsu, something like that. That's supposed to be, at the very least, like, incredible looking. Which makes a lot of sense because everything Wit Studio does is stupidly good looking, so. I mean, yes and no. Like at the beginning, it's less so, but as soon as like new types became a thing, it got super space magic-y. Like even if you watch the original Gundam stuff, like there's a little bit of like oh, he's using his mind powers and stuff, and but at least they explain that as like the progress of human evolution through living in space, is people who are born in space start to develop psychic powers, which is pretty you know, sci-fi. But my problem is when like they're using those powers to make like giant crystals and travel through time to the beginning of space and time to, you know, but at the same time it was gorgeous, so I'm not gonna complain about it. That show looks so good. All right, I cut these up. What? Oh. Actually, since they just released MechWarrior 5 on Steam, I actually started playing that the other day. I was having fun with that. It's a good it gets me by. Put it that way. Or as my wanting to be a giant dancing space robot. The only thing is that they really have terrible joystick implementation. Because I've got a whole HOTAS setup. I've got because I bought one for Elite Dangerous and I've used it for Squadrons too, and I'm really upset that it doesn't work as, you know. I guess here's the thing, I'm spoiled because with Squadrons and Elite Dangerous, it's just plug and play. You just plug it in and the sticks work. Everything works the way it's supposed to. With MechWarrior, I noticed that it's much. There's definitely more of an emphasis on using. They want you to use a mouse and keyboard for sure. Because even when you go to hook up your sticks and everything, you still have to go into the system files and change what buttons do what in like a text file. Yeah, I don't know. It just I understand that that's probably just. I mean, obviously you make it for PC and that's going to be the simplest way to do things is mouse and keyboard because everyone has a mouse and keyboard. But man, I just want to. If I'm going to pilot a mech, I want to feel like a pilot. I don't know. That's me. It's you know, I know they made the MechWarrior Online. I almost think what they should have done, and I don't know, maybe they did do this because I really didn't play a lot of MechWarrior Online, but what's that game? War Thunder. They had it set up so that they had separate servers for yeah, I bet. But they had separate servers for arcade, for stick users and keyboard and mouse users. And because obviously I think that if you did have people using the joysticks and stuff like that, if you had someone using a HOTAS and all that, that they would probably actually have a disadvantage against people that were using mouse and a keyboard, because I do think that probably mouse and keyboard is more intuitive. No, I figured that out right away. Don't worry. I think that mouse and keyboard is probably more intuitive, but like with something like Elite Dangerous, even, where probably mouse and keyboard is probably better for Elite Dangerous. Like, there's nothing like trying to do something as simple as like park a spaceship with a throttle and stick and all that, and it just feels good. I don't know. And if everyone's at the same disadvantage, then I'm sure it's a lot of fun. Seven. I'm not finishing up these legs tonight. I've had a very talkative stream tonight. I saw a guy one time, what he did to keep his all of his oh, P, I found it. Keep all of these organized was he actually just had a shelf built right above his area and just had A, B, C, D. I mean, that's pretty cool, but that takes up a lot of space too. I wish there was a simple way to keep these organized so I don't have to dig through all of them every time I do it. It's a lot easier when it's a high grade versus a master grade and it's gonna be crazy with the perfect grade. The perfect grade's gonna be an absolute mess. I'm never gonna be able to. It's gonna take me all night just to find each one of these. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, because there's no way it isn't just like slower in every single way. It really is. It really is. I like. It's 100% just a feeling thing. Like for example, like, I mean, I'm going to talk about like for Squadrons, for example. Like, that game is obviously, actually, I would say it's very much meant for a controller, like using an Xbox or a PS4 controller or something. That's very obvious that that's probably the best way to use that game. But I'm telling you, man, when you're sitting there and you've got the throttle all the way up and you're trying to pull up and you're switching from guns to engines and oh man, there's nothing like it. You feel it. It's like you almost feel it in your gut. Like you're like it almost makes your stomach like drop out. And it's just a video game. You're just sitting there. Ooh, look at that. Off a piece of my nail. That's a little close. Anyway. Yes, I've heard that is insanely fun. I wish they still had one of those around here. I remember they used to have a Mech Warrior pod at what's that place in Orland Park? Like around the same time that they used to have like the 3D roller coasters and stuff. By the way, have you ever ridden have you ever ridden in a 3D roller coaster or like a virtual roller coaster? You're passing out, aren't you? That's I've never gotten sick on a real roller coaster before, but I have gotten 100% nauseous from one of those roller coasters before. They're ridiculous. Tell you what, as far as my time playing MechWarrior so far, I definitely prefer the lighter weight mechs myself, and that's 100% because it has jump jets. When I was telling Palin when I was playing it that I was like, if I had a beam saber, I'd be super happy. I'd be super happy right now. Just give me a beam saber and I'm off. Beam saber. You know, those ones are cool. I mean, those are kind of like, you're talking about like almost like kind of like the Star Tours kind of thing, right? Those are cool. I remember the virtual roller coaster that they had at Odyssey Fun World. That's the name of the place. I remember that the virtual roller coaster that they had at Odyssey Fun World was on like an arm. So you were like sitting inside of a pod, and then it was an arm that would like go up in the air and start like spinning in rotations and going down and like all sorts of crazy stuff. And I almost threw up all over the place. That was crazy. Of course, nowadays, like I find like a virtual roller coaster, like they have I think they have one at Dave and Buster's, and like it's just kind of the seats move a little bit, which is fun. But I don't know if you remember this, when we would go to arcades and stuff, I would always look for an Arctic Thunder machine. That's so funny. I did the same thing. We were watching videos of roller coasters too. That's funny. I know, right? I know. I totally want to go try a bunch of new roller coasters now. I want to go to Cedar Point more now than I ever have in my whole life. That's so funny. Actually, you know what else I did? There was one day that I turned on Roller Coaster Tycoon, and I was just putting down roller coasters in Roller Coaster Tycoon and then putting it in fourth person mode just so I could be like, so this is what a roller coaster is like. I remember these were good times. Oh, Cedar Point, dude, I went to Cedar Point I think in 2001, and it was a 2-day park then, and that place is bigger now. It's I'm not saying you could spend a whole week there, but I could spend a whole week there. For sure. Yeah, Planet Coaster, that's what it was. That's what I was playing. Straight up, I downloaded the Raging Bull just so I could be like, man, I used to remember when I used to get to go to theme parks and ride the Raging Bull. One day. One day. Cedar Point? No, I went on Cedar Point with my family. Or I went to Cedar Point with my family. I never went on any youth group trips to Cedar Point. Gosh, I would have. I don't remember any youth groups going to Cedar Point. I would have been all over that. Well, maybe. I don't know. Kentucky Kingdom, huh? I don't think I've ever been to Kentucky Kingdom. Is there been to Indiana Beach a couple of times. That almost closed this year, I think, forever. And then like they did some charity stuff, I think, to keep it open. Oh, okay. That makes sense. I would have been all over a trip to Cedar Point. Well, gosh, Keister has been trying to plan a Cedar Point trip since 2004. So just we're not good at that. Oh, no, this is I. Okay. Oh, I think it's Cedar Point. Cedar Point is the one who's buying all the theme parks and saving them, or whoever owns Cedar Point. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, technically you could always just take time off work, but at the same time you're like, no, I can never take time off of work for the rest of my life. But yeah, I will go back to Cedar Point someday. I will. Okay. Yeah, I remember when I went to Cedar Point, the Millennium Force was the new roller coaster because it was the new millennium. Which that still is up there with that's still up there with probably one of the best roller coasters I've ever ridden in my entire life. It's so good. There's nothing like when you get to the top of the hill of the Millennium Force and it starts to go down. And then you notice that it inverts just the littlest bit while it's going down, and it's already so high. And you're just like, oh, it like just goes in just a little bit on the way down, and blows my mind. Blows my mind. And the way that it's they built it right on the edge of the park, and like you know, Cedar Point's on an island. Top Fuel Dragster, yeah, that's yeah, no, that I have yet to ride any of those roller coasters. I really want to ride one of those launch coasters. I wonder if the Hulk is still around. One of the Universal Studios had a Hulk roller coaster that was a launcher coaster, but instead of launching you like up and around like most launch coasters do, it launched you up into the first hill. Yeah, that one I always thought that was really cool. I wish there was more launch coasters that just launch you into a roller coaster. Like, that's so terrifying, but so cool. Even Six Flags. I don't think I've been to Six Flags in either, maybe, well, definitely 2 years at this point, because I know I didn't go the summer of 2019, and obviously no one went during the summer of 2020, so. I've ridden Max Force. I think that the last time I went to Six Flags, maybe X Flight was the new coaster. Which X Flights, I love X Flight. That's a fun roller coaster. I'm trying to remember because I remember, you know, you always have those like long conversations. That's true. You always have those long, like, weird conversations when you're waiting in line for roller coasters that you just don't normally have in real life. And I just remember having a really long, in-depth conversation about Avatar: The Last Airbender with Becky, Matt and Courtney's friend Becky, because she's a big fan of that show, and I think I had just finished watching it. Yeah. Yeah, nobody hangs out anymore. That's the truth of it. Probably last time I saw you was the last time I saw John, that's for sure. So whenever the last time you saw John, it was way before that. Actually, no, that's not true. There was one time that John invited me and Ryan over to your house. John invited me and you over to the house. Me and Ryan assumed that you would be there, but you weren't. And so me and Ryan were at the house, and it was just John. It was just John. He did that thing where I think he invites a bunch of people over all at once. He did that thing where he invites a bunch of people all over, telling them that all of us are going to be there, but then like only half the people, actually no, less than half the people show up, and like, so it's like, so he invites everyone by telling everyone that everyone's going to be there, but then nobody shows up except for like 2 or 3 people, and you're like, where's everyone else at? You said everyone else is going to be here, and they aren't. Like, dude, trying to bribe me. But anyway, part of that story is that that was a fun night because we ended up ordering pizzas, and I told John, I was like, hey John, there's a new Domino's in New Lennox, because that, yes, there's a new Domino's in New Lennox, we should order from there. So he's like, yeah, cool. So he orders from the new Domino's, and oh, did I make a mistake? Hold on a second here. Okay, no, I'm not crazy. Am I crazy? Oop. Might be shaving off parts I'm not supposed to be shaving off. Anyway, I got distracted. So John, I tell John, hey, let's order some pizzas off of the Domino's app and everything, because he already had the Domino's app on his phone. So I tell him to order it, and I tell him to order from New Lennox. So he orders, we get what we want. I'll go pick him up. I went to go pick him up, pull up to New Lennox, and walk in, and I'm like, hey, I'm here to pick up the pizzas. They're like, we ain't got no pizzas. What do you mean there's no pizzas? Nobody ordered any pizzas. Okay. So I call up John. Oh no, I called Ryan actually. I called Ryan. Oh, cool. I called up Ryan. I tell him, dude, John, you got to find out where John ordered the pizzas from because they're not here in New Lenox. So he talks to John. John's like, oh, maybe I accidentally ordered them in Lockport. Okay. So Ryan leaves to go to Lockport to get the pizzas from there. A few minutes after that, John calls me, and I'm on my way back to your house, and he's like, the pizzas are in Mokina. I ordered the pizzas in Mokina. And I'm like, John, I'm not driving all the way out to Mokina to go pick up pizzas. Like, you're just gonna have to take a loss on this one. I'm like, why did you order them all the way out to Mokina? Like, I didn't order them out in Mokina. See, I used to work at the Domino's in Mokina, and my boss hated me there. So I think that whenever I order pizza on Domino's, that my boss actually switches it to get made at another store because he still hates me. Which seems implausible. Because that means his boss would have to literally be watching online for every order that ever comes through, waiting and watching. I'll never forget that. I remember telling Ryan that right afterwards too, and he's like, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. Oh my gosh. But yeah, no, I did not make a mistake. How could I ever make a mistake? Real mystery. Oh, okay. If I had it like... Oh no! I've made a huge mistake. Well, hopefully it doesn't. Yeah, I've been cutting off a part that shouldn't be getting cut off, apparently. Hopefully it doesn't make a difference. It looked like a nub, so I was cutting it off. It really was it was part of the model. Whoopsie. I feel like that's true of everyone that lived there. Everyone gets on a lot better now that they no longer live together. Funny how that works. Well, I shouldn't even say gets on. Like, half the people, I mean, like, geez, like, when was the last time you actually, like, talked to me? Although, don't you guys still do, like, you guys still do, Magic and, and wasn't someone running a game of Gloomhaven or something? Or I don't know if that was at your house or at someone else's house. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, okay. Well, then never mind then. It was probably someone else that was running one of those. I can never tell. Everyone's got their own things now.
Gloomhaven is at Clinton's. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, we were playing Gloomhaven and I don't know. I could not get into that game, and I don't know why. I think that I think that just like the amount that you lose in that game. Okay. I think the amount that you lose in Gloomhaven is just enough for me to be like, this is too much. It's too much of a grind. I don't know, and that could be because of the people we were playing with. I'm not sure. We only ever played Gloomhaven for maybe 5 dungeons in. I think maybe we had gotten to level 3, but I'll tell you what Gloomhaven did. Gloomhaven made me miss D&D is what Gloomhaven did. So. Although I do so much DMing now, I wish I could find a game to join. Actually, I just found out that one of my coworkers is a DM, and I'm thinking about asking to see if they would be willing to let me join one of their games. Well, if you ever decide to DM a D&D game, I will try my hardest to be a part of that, because I actually have found that I really do enjoy DMing, depending on the group. I've also learned who not to invite, and I've learned, well, one of the games is with Discord friends, so that's a different thing. And actually, I'll be honest with you, the game that I run with the people that I know on Discord is by far the best experience I've ever had DMing a game in my entire life. It's I don't know, it's a lot. Most of them were new to the game, and I don't know what it is about that, but it just I don't know, kind of relieves my expectations, because I don't feel like I have to be perfect because I'm not playing with other people who expect things to be perfect. I'm not playing with people who've watched 500 episodes of Critical Role and expect you to be Matt Mercer. Also, I'll tell you the truth. I do love playing the game in person with people, but using Roll20 and Beyond and all those tools and stuff is so good for a DM. I just wish if there was an easier way for me to take that stuff and set it up at people's houses, I would be much more into DMing games in person again. I check Ed's stream every once in a while, and does he stream often or no? Because was he on a roll at some point? Because I never see it anymore. Either that, or I just totally miss it every single time. Gotcha. That's why I always miss it. Yeah, I'm like the opposite. I always try to get to bed a little bit early. What does he run? Is he still running like 3rd edition? Well, probably not, right? Does he run like Pathfinder, or is he on 5th edition? He's on 5e. Good. I would love to run another game in Genesis. My problem is that in the past when I have tried to run games in Genesis or Star Wars, but is that the people that I play with, no offense to them, are put it this way. With Genesis and Star Wars, you have to be like really on the ball with improvisation. So I think some people do have a problem with playing online and zoning out because like I said, the group I play on Discord is really good about being active, like as far, well, first off, most of them will use a camera, and you know, when you're on a camera, you kind of have a little bit more, how to put it, like if you're messing around or something on your phone or whatever, everyone can see it, which is true at a table too, but yeah, they're just a good group of people. The other game I run is a little bit more distracted, but I feel bad too because some of the people in that game really want to get into it, and they just don't. Yeah, I think even Matt's a good improviser when he's with other improvisers, if that makes sense. The problem is usually he's at a table trying to make sure everyone's having a good time, and that's where you kind of lose direction, I guess. Right, exactly. As long as no one's pulling them out of it, that's exactly what I mean. Yes. I mean, all of his characters are just him in a different way. Like, this is Snobby Matt, and this is Adventurous Matt, and this is Holy Matt. But you know, whatever. That's a lot of people. And Pat can be fun too, but he's just so flaky. It's just hard to get him to stick with a game. looks like all I'm gonna finish tonight is the feet. I plan on getting the whole legs done, but that's okay because it was nice. It was nice talking. So, yeah, I'm probably gonna finish with these for the night. Look. My experience is I've played, I think, in 3 D&D games with Dozer over the years. One was the one that he DM'd. Another one was with him, with Ed and Tara. And then another one was at Fantasy when they were doing a public D&D game. And it's difficult. It's difficult. I'll put it that way. I love Dozer. He's a nice guy and everything, but holy cow. Trying to play a D&D game where he not trying to make himself the antagonist of the entire campaign, or the protagonist, either way, because it kind of goes both ways. Not easy. I remember when we did play the one game, when I went to the one game at I remember when we were playing the game at Fantasy, I felt bad because the DM at the time was he was new to, I think it was actually his first game he's ever DM'd. So, and to be a first time DM and have Dozer at your table might be a bit much, but I remember the entire session was him trying to talk down some undead creatures so we didn't have to fight them. And I mean, here's what I'll say. That table probably had 9 players at it. There was, well, no, more than that, because there was me and Pat. Yeah, there's me and Pat and Pat's sister and Pat's niece, and then there was probably, so that's already 4 people, and then so yeah, there's probably 9 people at the table besides the DM, right? Imagine being a first-time DM and having 9 people at your table. That would be frustrating. I have a rule now, like I will not DM for more than 5 people. Period. I just won't do it. Every time I've done it, every time I've tried to DM for more than 5 people, it's too much. So So what ended up happening though was that, so like I said, there was this whole situation with some undead coming and Dozer had some kind of ability, which was strange to me because we were all level 1 and I don't know what in the world he could have been playing that had this ability. But he had this ability to basically talk down these undead and get them to not want to fight. But it literally took the entire session to do so, and it started at 7 and it ended at 9. You know what? The only reason I say 5, I think 4 is the perfect number. I really do think 4 is the perfect number. 3 is fun too. I think 4 is done. 5 is like literally my limit, where I'm just like no more than 5, because my last Star Wars campaign, we had 7, and that was a disaster. The best nights were the ones where like half the people didn't show up, but then the next time we would play and everyone showed up, it would just be a bunch of people being like, so what's happening now? What's happening now? And combat takes so long, and just doing anything takes so long, and that the people who are more prone to ignoring what's happening anyway, which there were, become even more prone to ignoring what's happening. Yeah, I should do more 3-person games. I really should. It's just that everything's always built for 4 to 6. I think that's why I always try to get at least 4 people. Like all the all your creature levels and all that stuff in most games seem to be built for 4 or more. Oh, don't be. Gosh. Don't be jealous. That game? I'll be honest with you. Here's the thing. If it was just the 7 people that were playing it and they were showing up consistently every single week, then it wouldn't have been a problem. Because I think if those people kept on showing up, then they wouldn't have to ask so many questions. Obviously, you wouldn't have to spend the first hour of the night trying to explain to them what's going on. Oh, I'd be in. Like I said, I'm itching to play at this point. I would love to actually play the game. I mean, you play it as DM, but you're also, like, right now I'm running Tomb of Annihilation for a group, and that campaign has a lot of overhead, a lot of, like, you have to keep track of a lot of things in that. Well, that was, here's the thing. So every time, the only people that I originally was going to have in that game was, it was going to be Ryan and Matt's friend Keaton and Matt, because actually what was happening was I originally tried, like, my first attempt at DMing, I tried to do Horde of the Dragon Queen. And I'd do 13th Age again. I'd be happy to do 13th Age again. I promise I won't pick a Chaos Mage again this time. Did I pick Chaos Mage last? I don't remember. I think we tried to play a campaign and I played as a Chaos Mage. Which, when I saw Wild Mage in Wild Magic in 5th edition, I got pretty excited about that. I still think Chaos Mage is better, but Wild Magic still makes me happy. Although when I have a player, I shouldn't say when I have a player. I have a player who's playing as a Wild Magic user, and I actually we found a PDF with 100, like a D100, like all 100 filled out instead of just 50, and we used that, and it's been fun. She's only killed her party once almost. So. In that game, I played as a rogue. I remember that because, but I could have sworn we might have tried to play another game that just never got off the ground where I played as a Chaos Mage, because I remember having the bag of rocks and all that stuff. So. But no, who was it? Remember. But yeah, like I've got some cool stuff too for DMing if you want to use it. I've got a bunch of maps, and I got one of those dice towers and stuff. So if you want any of that stuff for your campaign, feel free to use it, because all my campaigns are online right now. So Teller. Yeah, I've never gotten to play a campaign where I actually get to play Teller for more than like one game. That's what I had. I think I had a 4th edition version of Teller, and I had a 13th age version of Teller. But, you know, yeah. No, I'm cool with that. I'm totally cool with that. That's the one thing with playing online is like, I mean, you can technically. I mean, because we played a little bit of Genesis. Because I started a fantasy campaign in Genesis at one point. Actually, you know what we did? We did the Dawn of Worlds thing. I remember that. We did Dawn of Worlds, and we created a world, and we were going to run a campaign set in that world. Dude, I'll tell you, man, I made cards for it. Like, there was supposed to be kind of like these tarot type cards that were supposed to cause like random events to happen, like, and I had them printed out. I made them in Photoshop. Like, dude, I was into it. We did two campaigns before it fell apart. Or not 2 campaigns, 2 sessions before it fell apart. Not 2 campaigns. I wish we would have done 2 campaigns in that world before it fell apart. Yeah, I can't remember what it is. It's one of the podcasts I listen to. I think it's Campaign. And they what is it? The host of that show, the GM of that show, he has this whole thing set up where he's made up these kind of tarot card sort of things where they're based off creatures that live in the world. And basically when a player is having a hard time making a choice, he has them pull a card from the deck, and then the card kind of pushes the narrative, I guess you would say. And I love that idea so much that I completely stole it. Because I mean, I know I think we have different opinions on this, but I'm a big fan of, not as much as Matt, but I do like the idea of sometimes random chance pushing the narrative in a way that you didn't expect. So there we go. I mean, I think that's why I'm such a big fan of you know which one I always wanted to... Oh, I dropped a piece. Hold on. I'd love to play a game of 10 Candles sometime, like for Halloween or something. Like, I think that would be a really fun game to play. I don't know. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one. Have you heard of 10 Candles? basically, if you've never heard of it before, it's a, I think it's like the main setting of it is like apocalypse based, so it's like the world's already ending, the sun's going out is kind of like the narrative. But you can come up with any narrative you want to for it, but yeah, like I watched people play a game of that once, and I really liked it because it's so, I don't know how to put it, like I really like RPGs that are narrative focused versus mechanics focused. And like I love D&D. I do. It's in fact, especially 5th edition, it's so fudgy. You can kind of have your fun with it and everything, that that I actually like that about it. It's not, I mean, there are rules, but it's not as adherent to the rules as maybe other editions were. But yeah, story games, exactly. I'm a big fan of improvisation in RPGs, so that's me. I think that's why a lot of times the groups that I've played with in the past do tend to enjoy stuff like Gloomhaven or The Descent or stuff like that more than playing just D&D or something like that, because the rules are less flexible in a board game than they are in RPG, and they actually need that sort of inflexibility to be able to pay attention to what they're doing. But yeah, so I've been streaming for about 2.5 hours, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this now. It's cool talking to you. I'll talk to you on Discord too, I'm sure. So that's it for tonight, and going ahead and end it here. Go ahead. There we go. And that's it for now. So hope you had a good time.